And now, let us prepare our hearts and our minds for a time of meditation.
When I'm quiet in prayer, I open my heart, I open my heart. When I'm quiet in prayer, I open my heart, Alleluia. When I'm quiet in prayer, I let go of fear, I let go of fear. When I'm quiet in prayer, I let go of fear, Alleluia. When I'm quiet in prayer, I see only love, I see only love. When I'm quiet in prayer, I see only love, Alleluia.
You haven't done so already, I invite you to close your outer eyes or soften your gaze, feeling your feet on the ground or on whatever surface it is that's supporting you. And take a slow, intentional breath in and release that breath. Take another slow, intentional breath in and release. And with each breath, sink a little bit deeper and deeper into yourself while continuing to maintain that strong spine, but that soft belly. And allow your breath to find its natural rhythm. And I invite you to bring your awareness to the center of your chest, what's known as the heart space. And not just the physical heart alone, but the spiritual heart that is within us. That center of wisdom and love and truth. And feel free to sit with your hands open or with your palms turned upright, or even if you would like to put your hand on your heart. Whatever is most comfortable for you. And as we continue to breathe, I encourage you to silently ask yourself, what do I deeply long for? What do I deeply long for? And you don't need to force an answer of any kind. Just simply listen to what arises. Maybe it's a word, maybe it's a feeling. But just allow that image or that quiet knowing to begin to come into your awareness. And stay open in that spaciousness. And now gently ask yourself, what is the deepest longing beneath that desire? Maybe beneath success is contribution. Beneath comfort is peace. Beneath recognition is belonging, whatever that deeper layer may be. And just notice it. There's no need to judge it or to figure anything out, but simply notice and honor the truth. And I invite us to take that truth and that awareness and that breath into this sweet, sacred place that we call the silence, where we breathe, where we know, and where we listen right now in the stillness of the silence. As we listen to the wisdom within, we trust that guidance that is within ourselves. See your desire held in that spaciousness, not rushed, not pushed, not denied or feared, but welcomed, held in love and wisdom and right timing. Now I invite us to turn our awareness back into the room, the sounds around you of your homes, or wherever it is that you may be. Feeling your feet once again on the ground, connecting you, grounding you. As we awaken to the present moment, and with gratitude, we thank ourselves for this time that we have taken to connect to Source, to connect to love. And so it is. Amen.
Alleluia, alleluia, alleluia. Alleluia, alleluia, alleluia.
We are on the second to last chapter in our journey through Reverend Robert Brummett's book, Living Authentically with Practice. And I hope you all have been enjoying the series. I know several of you have been in Reverend Rich's classes here as we've been going through this, and it's just been great on a Sunday morning to observe and live and deepen within these practices. And so today's topic is living in the heart of desire. And I want to begin with a question, and that is, what if your desires aren't random? What if they're directional? What if some of the longings that are within you are not distractions from your spiritual path, but they are a part of it? Because many of us were taught to be suspicious of desire. We've learned things like desire is selfish, desire is dangerous, or desire is worldly and sinful. That's where some of those start, reaching for those pearls to clutch, right? That desire is a bad thing. Desire means you are not spiritual enough yet. And some of us even learned that the holiest thing we could say was, I don't want anything, which sounds noble, but it may or may not be. Because desire itself is not the problem. What desire is its energy, its movement, it's life that is reaching forward. So the question is not whether we desire, but I think that the question is, what is the source of that which we desire? Many of us know what our surface wants are. We want more money. Does anybody want more money? Yep, more money, more time, more appreciation. How about fewer emails or alerts? And one of my favorite things, I desire for people to act right. Right? Especially that last one. But beneath the surface of our wants are these deeper longings. Beneath wanting money, we may want a desire for freedom. Beneath wanting praise, we may be needing a desire to be seen. Or if that we're wanting to escape or control, there may be this desire for safety. So there's more. And when we're willing to look at more, that is where authenticity begins. When we stop judging what it is that we want and we start listening to what is beneath it, we start listening to the messages of what Spirit is trying to tell us. And often the first answer that we hear isn't even the deepest answer. I know that I struggled a lot in school as a child, and even as an adult. There is this struggle to listen because I get so excited, and the moment I get inspired, I am off to the races running. So someone's trying to explain something to me. I bring a situation to them, and it's like the first thing they say, I immediately go, "Oh, okay, got it, got it." I'm off. It's like, no, 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 come back. Come listen to the other options. I even remember there was a test that I took, and the very first instruction of that test in school, this is I think in middle school, and it said, read through the test before you begin. And I thought, great, okay, anyway, started circling and answering questions and going through, and I get to the very end and it says, instruction number 1, do not take this test. The first answer was not the right answer in particular. So we can have that enthusiasm, but can we also pull ourselves back a little bit to listen to what the soul is saying? Because the soul speaks in layers. And so can we create the spaciousness to pause and allow what wants to be revealed to bubble up? In the verse Psalm 37:4, it says, delight yourself in the Lord, and he will give you the desires of your heart. And this has sometimes been interpreted as, and I've interpreted it as, behave spiritually and God gives cash and prizes. But there's another way to hear that. And I think what that is that when we choose to align with divine presence, when we delight in truth, when our consciousness becomes rooted in spirit, you begin to know the desires of your heart. I'm not talking about in your head knowing, but in your heart knowing. Not the passing craving of whatever that moment may be, but those deep desires, those soul level desires that are placed within you by life itself. Sometimes the gift is not getting what you want, but sometimes the gift is in discovering what it is that you truly want. There may be a much better blessing that's taking place that we don't know about. And can we allow ourselves to step back and not know? Can we allow ourselves to step back and free fall into a spaciousness and trust that answers are there? Trust that we are not forgotten, but we are awakening and remembering. Unity co-founder Charles Fillmore talks about divine ideas seeking expression through us. And what he means by that, he's talking about creativity and love and service and healing, beauty, wisdom, generosity. All of these ideas are not merely human efforts, but they are divine ideas that are looking to be expressed individually and uniquely through each and every one of us. And sometimes that desire is simply the first signal of a divine idea arriving. It's a nudge, a stirring, a holy restlessness, we can call it. It's a feeling that says that there's something for me to become. There is something in me that is ready to live. There is something in me that is wanting to be expressed. That may well be desire in its own sacred form. And it's also important that we recognize that not every desire is wise. Because sometimes desires come from fear. And fear says that if I get this, then I'll be enough. If the scale reflects this number or lower, I'll be desired. Or if they choose me, then I'll matter. If I can control everything, then I can be safe. Or if I stay busy, I won't feel empty. Do any of you resonate with any of these? Have you experienced some of these before? These fears? Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of acknowledgement to that. Fear, being fear driven is the desire behind that is hungry and it's frantic. And that's not what those heartfelt desires feel like. So you can really, this is really an opportunity to tap into your body when you have an idea that comes to mind and you're in a question, is this fear or is this faith? Is this fear or is this that heartfelt desire? Notice what you feel. Because the desire of the heart says, I want to create. I want to love. I want to grow. I want to contribute. I want to live truthfully and live fully alive. So that space of fear is saying, complete me. And the heart of desire says, express me. Do you feel the difference between that distinction? And that very distinction right there has the power to change a life. Starting with you, starting with changing your life. And then that ripple effect that goes out and impacts others. For the longest time, I mean, at least since sixth grade, I knew that I had the desire in me to write a book. Didn't know what it was going to be about, but knew that I loved to write, and I was encouraged. My sixth grade English teacher, Mrs. Lori Soul, was just such a wonderful person in my life. And she makes me smile to this day because she saw something in me and she invested in me. And I told her, I want to write a book. And she said, You're going to write that book. That was in sixth grade. That was just a couple years ago, you know? And I have not written that book yet. And what has held me back is this idea that it needs to be perfect, that that first draft needs to just, I need to write it word for word, cover to cover, and then it'll be good enough. And then that voice also in my head that says, everything has already been said, or even who cares what you have to say? You know, and I feel the closed off from that. I feel how that can shut me down and keep me small and say, well, yeah, but so it's those judgments I'm allowing to stop me. And yet, year after year, that desire remains there. Do you have a desire within your heart of something that you are longing to do and you haven't done yet? I see Marcia looking looking at her husband Steve. Maybe something there, you know? But those desires, the true desires don't just go away. They're waiting for us. I believe that they're waiting for us to trust them and to step out. And in this series, we've been talking about awareness and forgiveness and what it means to learn from life. And in this chapter, desire steps in as yet another teacher. And what that reveals to us is what matters to us and where we feel alive, where we feel disconnected. What gifts are within us that are waiting to be expressed? And where is healing needed within us? If I intensely desire approval, perhaps I need to look at my inner worth. If I'm seeking outside external validation, I likely need to turn within to see what messages want to be revealed there. And if I deeply desire rest, perhaps I'm abandoning myself. And so I need that. Desire becomes sacred information. And then instead of only asking, well, what do I want? Rephrase that a little bit. Use that energy of what do I want and try asking, what is the longing beneath the longing? Is the desire that I have rooted in fear or rooted in love? Will this desire enlarge my life or will it shrink? And again, when we're going back, we're talking about that fear as well. You can energetically feel the difference in where is your footing, where is your jumping off point. And sometimes fear, a healthy level of fear is involved. I am always in awe. I absolutely love the Olympics. I am amazed what dedication and the human body and the human spirit can do. And I think about those high divers who get out on the very edge. I'm even terrified of jumping just straight into water. It's not my thing. But I think of those high divers who are up there on the very, very edge and their toes are at the edge. And I can't help but feel that they have some fear in them, right? But they know what their desire is. They know what they want to do. And so they take the risk, they take that leap and follow through. So that's not to say there shouldn't be any fear, but what type of fear are you holding on to? And use what little bit of fear that you have as a jumping off point, as is encouraged. So the questions that I just brought up, they bring about wisdom. It's really about staying curious. And I know all of us have experienced curiosity in our lives. I mean, my goodness, the fact that each and every one of us is here together in this moment You could have been doing any number of things on a Sunday morning, and yet you chose to be here right now. Tells me that there is a curiosity about you, that you want to know more about spirit. You want to know more about you. You want to know more about how to dig into practice and how better to express yourself and your gifts. So I commend you for that. I commend you for tuning in from all over the country and even all over the world. So it's important that we remember to stay open. And the hardest part is not knowing. I would say sometimes the hardest part is not knowing what the desire is, it's admitting it, right? It's putting it out to the universe. Because we can get into that fear of what if it doesn't happen? What if it doesn't come true? But if we have the courage to stand and say that I want a more meaningful life, I want deeper connection, I want to create something that is beautiful, I want healing, I want joy again, I want to begin anew. I want to overcome this challenge. I want to receive this good in my life. So to say it without acknowledging all of that inner dialogue, it's important to do that because then we find out how we shut ourselves down. And we can do that again with that. Well, what if it doesn't happen? And I love, love, love the beautiful quote a dear friend of mine, Reverend Dr. Randall Brailsford, told me once when I was having this exact conversation with him. He paused me and he said, "What if things turn out impossibly well?" The vulnerability of voicing takes courage, whether it's to yourself or others. An audience isn't always needed. Sometimes I feel like I need that. Like if I don't declare it on Facebook, it's not happening, or if I don't tell a certain number of people, and it's not even, the power isn't even within that. It's you being willing and wanting to be vulnerable with yourself. Because once you name desire, you can no longer pretend that numbness is enough. You're not satisfied with that. And so when we naming desire is often the first act of that authentic living. And that is the series that we have been doing so far this year, that Reverend Richard and I have been trying to bring teachings and resources and books into this theme of living authentically, living originally. And I do want to say too, you don't have to chase everything. Jen, you don't have to chase everything. We don't have to act on every desire. Thank goodness. That is a relief. I don't have to act on everything I think, which thanks be to God that that is the case, because some of the things that we think they're old conditioning. Sometimes there can be hunger, and the answer may simply be lunch, eat something, take a nap, take a walk. Discernment matters. And some of those desires return gently and persistently and faithfully. Those are the ones to pay attention to. Those are the ones that are worth honoring. Because the ones that keep tapping on your shoulder, the ones that make you feel alive when you become quiet, the ones that make you feel more yourself. Pay attention to that. So, your practice for this week is when a desire arises to pause before you judge it. Don't immediately start running in and running away with stuff, but give yourself the gift of pausing and ask yourself, what is this trying to show me? And the most important part after that is to listen. Listen to what wants to be revealed through you. Maybe the desire for success is really a desire to be of service, or that desire to escape is a desire for deep rest, right? Or the desire for change is the soul that is ready for growth. And maybe that there is a desire within you that you've dismissed that is actually a divine invitation to step out on that ledge, to step out into possibility. So I'd encourage you to write something down this week, whatever is coming to mind. And I think one of the most important things is to stay curious. Because there's a reason things come up. There is a reason for me that the desire to write a book is still there after all of these years. And I have constant reminders. You know how we're looking for, okay, well, confirmations come in threes. And sometimes I look for the big neon sign of whatever that is. I still hear, you should really write a book. And my heart gets excited, my brain gets into overload, and I do nothing. Until now. Until I practice new thought, what we believe and what we teach, which is actually to choose a new thought. We are not captive to our thoughts. We are not imprisoned by our thoughts, and it can feel that way. I absolutely have times in my life and challenges that I go through and I grow through where I feel stuck. I feel like this is in my life. This is my cross to bear, if I'm going to be dramatic in it, but it feels real. We have those things that keep us stuck, but that doesn't mean that we should set up camp. That doesn't mean we should tuck it into bed and kiss it goodnight and tell it see you in the morning. We don't have to do that. But we can recognize it, but we can also choose a new thought. So when we're ready to step in and choose that new experience, what is the true desire? And so that's what I'm working on this week is recognizing what is it that's alive in me. And there's a lot. Maybe in several of you creatives, there's probably a lot going on. And then for me, okay, I immediately want to organize it. I'm going to organize it, order it. There's a spreadsheet for it. And that's the control, because I think if I have all of that together, then it's going to happen. And I really think what the lesson is in that for me, and Spirit just smiles at me and says, that's my girl. That's my girl. What is alive in me, what is alive in you, isn't going anywhere. If it is truly alive, if it is truly a desire, it wants to be expressed. So, my friends, your desires are not interruptions to your spiritual life, but see them as invitations to lean into, to look into it. And with that spiritual practice, you can discern what is ego noise and what is soul music, And living authentically means learning the difference between those and listening beneath the surface and trusting that life is not going to tease you with longing. Life is trying to guide you through it. So you may honor what is holy within your wanting, and you can release what is fear-based. And may you trust that desire is born in truth and live from that heart of desire. I would love to sit down with each and every one of you and hear exactly what you're working on, what is alive in you, what you feel like you would like to do. And you're more than welcome to reach out to me if you would. And if not, that's okay. Listen to what your soul is telling you. And now go forth and be the love and light that each of you already are. And so it is.